A very good evening to all of you, my dear students of class 10 ABC. I hope that you all will be very fine, happy, healthy, and you will be safe in your house along with your family members. And right now, we pray to Almighty to solve all these problems as soon as it is possible. Right now, as we all know that we are suffering from a great pandemic disease named coronavirus. So we should be inside of our house and we should be safe, and at the same time, as you all are board students, then you should also read. You should try to read as much as you can. Right now we are in our second chapter of civics, that is called federalism. And in my introductory topic, in my introductory lecture, I told you that what do we mean by federalism, okay, and what is the importance of it, and what are the various countries where this kind of system has been found. So last lecture I think we were discussing something about the definition of federalism, and we have started also. So what is federalism? We would like to move with this heading again. Let's get back to the contrast between Belgium and Sri Lanka that we saw in the last chapter. You'd recall that you would recall that just a minute. Yes. You'd recall that uh, one of the key changes made in the constitution of Belgium was to reduce the power of central government and to give the power to the regional government. You know? So we can see that in Belgium, in the constitution of Belgium, some power were allotted to central government. At the same time, some powers were allotted to regional government or state government also. Regional governments existed in Belgium every even earlier. Okay, they had their rules and powers, but all these powers were given to these governments and could be withdrawn by the central government. But there was a balance, and how that balance was formed, that although there was separation of power between state government or regional government and central government, but central government had the ultimate power to withdraw the power of regional government. The change that took place in 1993 was that the regional government were given constitutional powers that were no longer dependent on the central government. Finally, a change was made in the year 1993 that regional government had not to follow all the rules and regulation of central government. It means regional government was given a kind of autonomy in Belgium, and it had not to follow all the rules and regulation of central government. Thus, Belgium shifted from a unitary to a federal form of government. In such a way, Belgium became a federal form of government from unitary form of government. Now, again, a question comes: what do you mean by unitary form of government? So, it is just opposite of federalism. It is just opposite angle of federal form of government, in which the whole power is centralized into one government, that is called central government. I mean, no other powers are awarded to state or local government, but central government is all in all the aspects of the country. Thus, Belgium shifted from a unitary to a federal form of government in 1993. Sri Lanka continued to be, for all practices purpose, a unitary system where the national government has all the powers. Okay, but in Sri Lanka it did not take place. What happened there? The unitary form of government continued, and central government was responsible for all kind of decisions that were being taken for the development of the country. Tamil leaders want Tamil leaders want Sri Lanka to become a federal system. Okay, while the Tamil leaders wanted Sri Lanka to be considered as a federal system or federal nation. Federalism is a system of government in which the power is divided between the central authority and the various constituent units of a country. Now, again, we should think about the vertical form of power sharing. In the very first chapter, we have read it, that what is vertical form of power sharing and what is horizontal form of power sharing. So again, there is a need to look into vertical form of power sharing, that how the powers are shared between central government, state government, and local self government. So federalism is a system of government in which the power is divided between a central authority and a various constituent constituent units of the country. I mean, in federalism, what happened? The power is shared among the various units of the country, like various state government, various local government, local self government, and the central governments also. Now, if we compare this situation with Indian circumstances, we have also both type of power sharing. If we talk about vertical form of power sharing, then we have central government. First step, second step, we have local, I mean state governments also, like West Bengal government, Uttar Pradesh government, Odisha government, Rajasthan government, etc. Etc. Then the third point is local self government. I mean, at the very grassroots level, at the very, I mean bottom level, we will see that the third form of government appears, and there we find the election of gram panchayat, the election of block pramukh, I mean block head, and the election of district head are conducted. Okay, so we also have different kind of I mean level of power sharing, and we have different type of things, how that there are three lists. One is, as we all know, that central list or union list. Second, state list. Okay, and the third one is this one. Okay, second is state list. The third one is, I mean, what should I say? I am forgetting the name, but soon I will tell you. Don't worry. So there are three lists, and in those three lists, I mean, the power has been separated from one to another. Okay. So India has also kind of vertical power sharing. Usually, a federation has two levels of government. One is the central government, for the entire country, and that is usually responsible for a few subjects of common national interest. Underline these lines, very much important. Central government is usually responsible for a few subjects of common national interests, like defense, like insurance, like security, like that one, space, like atomic researches. Okay, like I think this one also, what should I say, post, like telephone communication system. Okay, like navy, air force. Okay, army also. So for all these things, only national government is responsible. The other are the governments at the level of provinces or states that look after much of the day-to-day administration of their state. Now, on state level or on province level, we have different second type of government that is responsible for a state government. Now, just see in India, although central government is available in New Delhi, but apart from that, see that central government has also been formed by the common people of India. But apart from that, to control a state particularly, then we have a state government. We have different kind of subjects for state government, and state government regulates it. Okay, so second form of government is state government. The others are the government at the level of provinces or state that look after much of the day-to-day administrating of their state. Both these levels of governments enjoy their power independent to the other. Now, there, again I say there is separation of power. Both the, I mean, in suppose usually it is said that in federalism two types of government, but in a country like India we also have third level of government. In a country like Belgium, they have also the third level of government. There is, it is called community government. In our country, it is called local self government. Okay, but The third level of government is also available in various kind of country, and we can see that subjects have been divided usually into two: one union list, second state list, third concurrent list. The third is concurrent list, in which both the state as well as center have been given power to make a law. But if a law is made by state government or central government, and it is contradictory to another, okay, it is a contradictory rule for the another institution. For example, suppose that state government makes a law and on a concurrent list subject, but it is in the opposition of the central government law, and central government also makes a law, then at that time the law made by central government will be followed, while the law made by state government will be left behind. In this sense, federations are now see in in this map. You can easily understand that where are the federal form of government, federation, I mean federal form of government, and in that map we may see that India is also a federal country. India, Australia, Russia, Brazil, Canada, United States of America, then small countries like Germany, Switzerland, Spain, and Nigeria, Ethiopia, South Africa, United Arab Emirates, okay, Malaysia, all these countries, federal form of government is found. In this sense, federation are contrasted with unitary governments. Okay, under the, as earlier I said that federal form of government is totally, I mean against, oppose, in the opposition of unitary form of government. Where unitary form of government will be found, there is no federal form of government. Like Britain. In Great Britain, we find unitary form of government. I mean, whole the power has been concised into the hand of, British Parliament. Okay. So where there is unitary form of government, then we don't find any federal form of government. If federal form of government is available, then we can't find unitary form of government, as both are the contradictory of one another. Under the unitary system, either there is only one level of government or the subunits of subordinate to the central government. The central government can pass on order to provincial or local government. But in a federal, now these are some, I mean, basic characteristic of unitary form of government. Unitary form of government is a government in which all the, I mean, powers are centralized in union government. Point number one. Point number two, for state government or for, I mean, local interest unit, I mean union government will form some law, make some law for the betterment of all the people, person, and there is no responsibility or no rights in the hand of state government as well. The central government can pass an order on orders to the provincial or local government. But in federal system, the central government cannot order state government to do something. State government has powers of its own for which it is not answerable to the central government. Again, I say, now when the law is made for state government, I mean when there is federal form of government, then both kind of governments like central government as well as state governments have their own power. The topics are separated, the powers are totally separated, and nobody can enter into another's law. In India, the subjects that are, I mean, given to central government. So now central government only make law on those issues, and the, I mean the areas, the rights, the subjects that are awarded to state government, then only state government will make law on that one. Okay. So this is, I mean, federal form of government, such a type. The state government has powers of its own for which it is not answerable to central government. Both the governments are separately answerable to the people. Okay, now this is the important point. Whether it's unitary form of government or it's federal form of government, ultimately the leaders, the government is answerable to those people from whom they have been selected or by whom they have been selected. Let us look some of the key features of federalism. Good. This question may come in board examination, that what do you mean by federalism? and write about the key features of federalism. Okay, or the straight question may come that write about the key features of federalism. So what we have to write? Point number 1, there are two or more levels. 100%, the basic need of a federal form of government, that there will be two or more than two levels of government. Okay, number 1 will be central government, number 2 will be state government. Apart from that, one to more level can be, as in India we have local self government. It is another matter. Okay, but there will be minimum two level government. Point number 2, different tiers of government govern the same citizens, but each tier has its own jurisdiction in a specific matter of legislation, legislation, taxation, and administration. Different tiers of government govern the same citizen. Now this point is to be understood. How? I am, suppose that you all are the local native of Bengal, for example, just see, or you may be from somewhere. Somebody will be from Odisha, somebody will be from Bengal, somebody will be from Uttar Pradesh. Okay, it doesn't matter. But you are under the rule and regulation of two types of government, central government can also control you, as well as state government can also control you. The point that has been written, different tier of governments govern the same citizen. I mean, different level of government governs govern the same citizen. I am a citizen. I have the responsibility of two types of government. Central government can also rule over me. I mean, central government also rules over me, while the state government also rules over me. Okay, I am at the same time I am serving two governments. I am responsible to two type of governments. So different tiers of government govern the same citizen, but each tier has its own jurisdiction. Okay, but each tier has its special jurisdiction rights in specific matters of legislation. ठीक है ना? I mean making law in this particular matter. Each form of government has its own specific jurisdiction. Then taxation, imposing tax, it has been clearly classified that this tax will be collected by central government, this tax will be collected by state government, this tax will be imposed by central government, this tax will be imposed by state government. And will you believe that some taxation power has been awarded to local self government, like tax on fare, like tax on, this one, hawkers. Okay, so ultimately state government has also awarded some sort of, local self government has also been awarded some sort of taxation power. Okay, and administration also. The third, the jurisdictions of the respective levels of tiers of government are specified in the constitution. And how does the jurisdiction work for different level of government? It works according to the norms of constitution. It works according to the rules and regulation of the constitution. So the existence and authority of each tier of government is constitutionally guaranteed. So the regularity of authority, so the regular, the power of the authority of the different tier of government is has been given a kind of guarantee. And from where, what is the source of that guarantee? Our constitution is the source of that guarantee. How? This thing has been written in our constitution, so we have to follow it. This thing has been written in our constitution for the state government, so state government can do only this work. In such a way, in our constitution, all these things have been written. The fundamental provisions of the constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by one level of government. Now again another thing, but this is a very different topic, but it is a characteristic of federalism. I consider it is a good characteristic of federalism. But for this thing, I'll have to go in detail that what is the constitution changing process of India? How can we make an amendment in our constitution? This is the three level three level process. Okay, number one, some of the articles can be easily changed. Some up on some matter, some subjects, we can easily change the constitution only by the majority of two-thirds of the member of the parliament. In some another issue, we will have to take the permission of state governments also. Okay, so there are three level of government. That is another issue. I think I don't go in that particular in deep issue. We should always, the fundamental line is this: the fundamental provisions of the constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by one level of government. It means if we want to take the fundamental thing of constitution, or if we want to make any fundamental change in constitution, or we can want to change some constitution on the fundamental ground of the constitution, in fundamental subject of our constitution, if we want to make any change, then we'll have to take the permission of a state government also. Okay, such changes require the consent of both the levels of the government, and such changes require the consent of the both level of government, central government as well as state government. Okay, so that is sufficient for today. And what is expected from you, that first chapter board paper. Okay, I do not know how will you get. If you are able to make any contact to your seniors, then first chapter, power sharing, I do not know how many of you have shown me your answer sheet. Answer copy of first chapter exercise, first chapter. But rarely I got one or two. Some two students of class 9B I think have shown. One or two students of class 9C have shown to me. And not apart from that, nobody showed me. So what you have to do, if you have written down the exercise of first chapter, then send it to me or send it in Google Classroom. Point number 2, Mehto ma'am will check it. If she gets time, 100% she will evaluate you. Now, point number 2, if you get if you get from anywhere, if you get the board question paper of first chapter, then solve it and show it to me. Solve it and show it to me. That is your homework. Take care about yourself. We will meet in next class. Till that time period, take care about yourself. Have a good time. Bye.